Hey everyone, welcome back. So hopefully the stream is working. I'm having some issues with YouTube Studio right now. It's not giving me any of the comments or anything like that, so I'm hoping this works. I'm not talking to myself actually. But here's what we got. So can Bitcoin give us more pain before it actually starts going up higher? We'll take a look at that today. We'll take a look at what happened on Friday. I didn't do a stream on Friday because I didn't get home until late, so I couldn't do it. But miners had a good day. Nonetheless, Bitcoin was down on Friday, so maybe are the miners front running? We'll talk about that. Not much news as far as miners are concerned. We're just going to take a look at how the miners did last week compared to Bitcoin, and then we'll get into you guys' Q&A. So we'll cover Bitcoin miners, and we'll get on with it, okay? Let's see, where do I want to go here? I want to go here. All right, so as always, not financial advice for entertainment only. Do your own research. Full disclosure below that. Hit the like button, subscribe. Helps me out tremendously. And let's take a look at Bitcoin here right now on what's happened over the weekend here. So on Sunday, which basically is still today, but Bitcoin's in the new day for it, Bitcoin was down 6.39%. It was down $5,507.52. It got down to a low of, 80,000 on the mark there. You can see it up top here if I move my screen here, but bear with me for a second. I got to do something really quick. Sorry about that. I had to turn off the water heater, otherwise we're going to get background noise in here. So I forgot to do that before I went live. All right, so that was definitely a pretty big plummet here on Bitcoin. 80,000 did kind of hold the resistance there a little bit, or support maybe, we'll see. But the thing that I don't like about Bitcoin right now, at least, one, the good thing is on the CME futures for Bitcoin, we do have a gap here over the weekend again. The gap is to the lower end side of things, so that's actually pretty good. We might actually fill that gap in tomorrow, possibly going forward. We filled this gap, little gap here back then, but we still have this gap. We're going back to November of last year, which still hasn't been completely filled in. So that's why I'm saying we might see some more pain before we actually start seeing some gains in Bitcoin here. So going back to Bitcoin here really quick, we can see on the RSI, I don't like the setup as well on the daily here. RSI was much lower here, even though price was much higher here at this point. This was back on Wednesday, the 26th of February. Price at that point was at 84,000 for the close. And then here just recently, today, we closed at approximately 80,699, right? So we do have that difference of roughly $4,000 roughly. And the RSI is much higher here right now as it is. So don't like seeing that setup. That might take a while for that to clear up here. Looking at the 4-hour chart, it's looking a little bit better, but still not great here on the RSI on Bitcoin as well. We can see that the RSI went below 30 again here today. Last time we were below here, we were actually lower in price, but the RSI was actually lower at that point as well. We can go back to here and actually, trying to figure out a spot like right here. Bitcoin was actually higher at that point as well, if we look at the RSI roughly at that point. So I still need it to convert to where the RSI is actually same spot, but Bitcoin price is higher, like on the 1-hour chart or something like that. It's kind of what I'm looking for right now. I'm seeing that RSI right now is at 36 roughly. And the bottom, we were bottoming out here at 17 on the RSI. Prior to that, we were at 17. Price was higher at that point as well. So we're not seeing that convergence or that reversal happening here just yet on it. So don't really like seeing that. That's why I'm saying we might go down to that gap that we had in November of last year here to get that filled here, which would definitely take us down here to, well, it'd take us down another 4,000 from where we are right now, at least on the CME futures. So that might need to get filled, like I said, before we actually go up here. The other good thing here that I'm seeing, at least on this setup here, if we look at the setup that we had back here, where we were bottoming out, there was a gap on the CME futures going back here as well. Where was it at? Let's see here, this is right there. So we had a gap here, right, which kind of what we happened today as well. We have that little gap. Eventually that gap got filled, price did go up, and then we came back down, and then finally we ended up going up higher, but it still took a while. It took basically, what did it take? A full month here, looks like. I'm looking at it here, August 1st, and then this is 2 months roughly to September, end of September into October. So we still might be in kind of a sideways action happening here if it plays out the same way that we're seeing it here, because this one was definitely a long consolidation, trading sideways pattern. And we're kind of seeing the same thing happening here, where we're kind of trading sideways and then trying to find a bottom here like we did back here. Okay, so something to keep in mind, something to keep an eye out. But like I said, on Friday, miners did better than Bitcoin did. Bitcoin was actually down on Friday. It was down 3.52%. We had a lot of miners that did actually really good. Bitfarms was up, I mean, well, except MicroStrategy. MicroStrategy was down on Friday 5%. Bitfarms was actually up 10%. BitDeer was up just slightly here, almost 0.5%. Cypher was up just a little bit, 2.6. Cleanspark was up 8.3. CORZ was down a little bit, 0.89. Hive was up 5. HUD-A was up slightly, 0.75. IREN was up just a little bit as well, 1%. Mara was up 6% though. Riot was up 3%. Wolf was up 7%. So even Bitcoin being down on Friday, the miners were going up. So it might be a case for where the miners are starting to maybe front run a little bit, this Bitcoin action happening here, like we have seen in the past as well. We also saw some of the smaller miners do pretty good. Argo, for some reason, was up 20%. Any was up 4%. Digital was up 5.8%. And then Digihost was flat. DMG was up a little bit, 1.4. Mawson was down 5.5 roughly. And Stronghold was up actually 11.9%. The ETFs were also up on it. So go figure, right? Typically when we see Bitcoin going down, we see the miners going down. But this time around, we've seen this a couple of times last week where Bitcoin was going down and the miners were actually going up. So that gives me a little bit of confidence that maybe we are getting close to the bottom here on Bitcoin. Because people are starting to pick up these way, way undervalued miners as it is right now. Okay. Let's take a look at the network hash rate really quick while we're at it. I haven't done this in a couple of days, almost a week I think, last time we did it. And on the 7-day average, we are at 789 exahash. Look at the 30-day average. That's been coming down as well. We are now at 800. We peaked here at 807, it looks like, back in the middle of February. So it has been coming down as Bitcoin price has been trading sideways as well. Okay, there's that. Let's take a look at the monthly for Bitcoin here. And let's see, get rid of that. Go back over here. March, so far, Bitcoin's down 3.81%. We were in the green a little bit, at least, end of the week here on Friday. And that's what I track Bitcoin Friday to Friday, along with the miners as well. So we'll see how they did here for last week compared to Bitcoin as well. But yep, it's not looking too good right now. Definitely more pain to come, I think, before we start going up higher. That's just my thoughts on it. You guys may disagree. You guys may agree. We can definitely talk about it in the chat for sure. Excuse me. All right, let's take a look at the miners here, how they did last week against Bitcoin, and then we'll get into Q&A as well. Where is it at? Weekly. Did I go too far on it? Yeah, I did. There it is. Okay. So the first chart that we always look at is the miners, how far they've come up from their 52-week lows and how far away they are from their 52-week highs, basically. So that's the top chart here. We can see that core is still up nicely, up almost 200% here from its 52-week lows. MicroStrategy, or strategy now, is up 184%. BitDeer's up 110%. HUD is up 99%. IREN is up 85%. Bitcoin's up 76%. What do all these guys have in common here except for strategy, right? These guys are all looking, well, Core already has an HPC ideal. That's tremendous there. BitDeer's working on that, so it's HUD 8. IREN, same thing. And then we have Cypher being up 46%, Mara being up 32%, Riot 31, 23 for Cleanspark, and 17 for Bitfarms, and Hive only 12.4. Those guys have been lagging Bitcoin here this past year, basically 52 weeks. And you can see that a lot of these guys have even either gotten close to their 52 weeks or actually breached their 52 weeks, but just bounced a little bit here recently. Like Cleanspark, Hive, Bitfarms, I would even say Core is getting close to that. BitDeer as well. It's definitely painful. I will admit that. I'm sure you guys will admit that as well, that it is not pretty right now. And it seems like every time Trump says something about tariffs, things go down even more. So, I mean, we could talk about Trump as well if you guys want. My thoughts are on it that, you know, his core constituents are the working class. The working class, for the most part, don't really care what's going on in the stock market. They're not the ones that are investing in the stock market. So does he care if he tanks the stock market a little bit to get rates down and everything else? Probably not. Maybe you guys can tell me your guys' thoughts on it. Maybe I'm off on this or wrong, but that's kind of just what I'm seeing here. It's like they want the rates to come down on interest rates, and they'll do whatever they can to get them down that way. To, kind of a little fight here between Trump and Powell, I guess. So we'll see who capitulates first, whether it's going to be Trump or Powell there. Okay, going to last week here. On the miners here, we can see that Marathon and Strategy have done the best here, up being 15 and 12%. Cleanspark up 11% as well. Bitfarms up 7%. and Bitcoin being up only 3% last week. So the miners did actually pretty good, at least a couple of them did last week compared to Bitcoin. And then the ones that have not done so well is Hive, Cypher, IREN, HUD8, Riot, BitDeer, and CORZ down 30% last week. CORZ definitely got beat up the most. It just had a story come out about CoreWeave, that their customers at Microsoft is pulling some contracts and some future commitments as well. That was later on, I believe it was found out to be FUD or false there. I think even the company CoreWeave came out with a statement saying that they have not had anything like that happen, but the stock still took a dump because of it. So not a great week for CORZ. If you're holding on to CORZ, yeah, it's definitely not looking good right now, but I think in time it will flip and start going back up. 4 weeks chart time-wise, if we look at that, things look a little bit different here. We got Bitcoin being only down 11%. The only one that has done better than Bitcoin is Marathon. Marathon's up or down 5% from that, so it's done a little bit better. But the ones that have done the worst here are IREN down 41%. You got Cypher down 36%, HUD8 34%, CORZ down 38% as well. So everybody did pretty much worse than Bitcoin here. Some of the ones that have done maybe not as bad are Strategy being down 15%, Cleanspark down 16%, and Bitfarms being down 13% only. And then on the 8 weeks, we can see things look different altogether. Bitcoin's down 17%. You got HUD being down 50%, CORZ down 48%, BitDeer down 47%, Hive down 38%, IREN down 36%, Riot down 37% as well. So nobody has done better than Bitcoin here in the last 8 weeks. Let's take a look at the 12 weeks chart. Things look a little bit different, but not much. Bitcoin's down 11% from then. You got BitDeer still down 46%, CORZ down 45%, HUD down 43%. And you got a bunch of them in the 30 range here, Hive, Cypher, IREN, and then you got some 20s, quite a few in 20s, Riot, Bitfarms, Cleanspark, Strategy, and Marathon. So it has not been pleasant here in the last 12 to, I would say, 16 weeks probably. And you can see that probably starting all the way back to December timeframe is when we started getting a heck of a lot more red here on the miners in general and just Bitcoin itself as well. Prior to that, we had a little bit more mixed, more green here, it seems like. But we were also rocketing because of Trump being elected, right? A lot of euphoria there at that point. Well, that euphoria is quickly going away, I guess you could say. But it's just not Bitcoin that's down in the miners. It's the markets are down as well. If we look at the markets here really quick on it, I mean, we can see Dow Jones has been down. Dow Jones is down. What is it from the top here? This thing is also down to the bottom. It was down 6% on it. The NASDAQ has definitely gotten a beating as well. From the top here, it is down roughly 12%, right? So we see these corrections happening from time to time. The S&P 500, same thing. From the top, roughly around here, all the way down to here, it's down about 7%. And when you zoom out on things, things definitely do get these kind of corrections here, which we've seen in the past. Nothing ever goes up forever, right? We had a correction here about 10%. We had another correction here that was about 10% as well. So we're getting close to that where we've seen this correction happening here as well. I mean, we're only down 7, so we could go down another 2% on the S&P. And overall, I mean, this was back in 2021. There's a reason for that one, but that was a much longer correction than we had here. And we went down approximately 27%, almost 30% on the S&P here. So we do get these corrections from time to time. Eventually they will correct themselves, and then we go back up, right, depending on what's going on in the economy and everything else. But historically looking, I mean, you can see that the S&P 500 or the NASDAQ or the Dow Jones, they do tend to go up, but they do have these corrections from time to time that are going to happen here for whatever reason, but we do go up, right? So I wouldn't be too worried just yet. Bitcoin still hasn't gotten below like 65,000 mark. That's when I would start to get worried that maybe we are in a bear market with Bitcoin. It has not done that, so I'm still not too worried about it. Like I said, I think we still could go down to about 78,000 on Bitcoin. That would not freak me out at all. I think that would be part of the healthy correction here. Going down from the top where we were on Bitcoin, roughly here, down to about 70. I think we could go also like 75. I think we could go to 76, 75. That would get us into the 50-day simple moving average as well, roughly on the weekly. Now, So, and we've bounced off of that as well. So that's kind of where I'm looking at least right now. So I'm not too worried about it. But let me know what you guys think, as always. So let's get into the Q&A side of things here, see what you guys' thoughts are on questions or anything like that. And hopefully the comments and questions will work, because on my YouTube studio page is not popping up. So hopefully in this app that I have here, it will actually show me the Q&A for that portion of it. And it does. Okay, so good. So at least that's working. As always, preface your question with a question mark or Q if you would be so kind. That would be great. I'm going to work my way up. And again, thank you everyone for coming in here to join. Really appreciate you guys. And let's see. Okay, Kaz says, hi Seb, daily 5 to 10% swings is the new norm, even on weekends. It seems like it, right? Definitely a lot of volatility here happening right now. See, Yellow says, I guess some folks are disappointed that the U.S. government will not buy their bags in the short term. We knew it was going to take a little while. At least I did. I think hopefully you guys knew that as well, that they're working towards that eventuality of happening, but it's going to take time. You need the House, Senate to pass a bill that then the president can sign, and then they can do something where they can actually buy it or something like that. All right. Let's see, revenue. Argo to 72,000. Like I said, I think 75 might be in the cards. 72,000 might be a wick down, but that's as low as I would think we would go down possibly. Yeah, so many people are bearish right now. Yeah, there's a lot. It is definitely painful out there. Okay. Let's see. Mortem says nothing should be a surprise this week. Jolts Tuesday, CPI Wednesday, PPI Thursday, initial jobless claims on Thursday. Also a possible government shutdown this week, and Trump talked about recession. Yeah, there's a lot going on for sure. Okay, let's see. John has a question here. Which is better buy, the overall market or miners? I believe the miners are at a discount. I do believe so, also much so than the market itself. The market's down as well, but you have a discount there. So if you invest in the market in general, S&P 500, NASDAQ, whatever it might be, you might still have a little bit more downside, I think, before we reverse track. And it depends on what really Trump does with the tariffs, unfortunately. It's just a seesaw game with him right now. Tariffs are on, tariffs are off. Tariffs are on, tariffs are off. We're not going to do them until later on. We're going to do a tariff on. That's like, we need to get rid of this uncertainty in the market. We need certainty. We need something that we can look forward to. We can track it. We can gauge it. We can calculate it, see where things are going to go. But this back and forth doesn't help. And that's why I think that he might be doing this in order to get the Fed to cut rates possibly. Weaken the economy a little bit here. Who knows? All right. Morton says, Grok thinks correction is not done until early April. So we got all of March to go and then early April. That wouldn't be too bad. We've been in a correction since basically the beginning of the year here, it seems like. Okay. JK says he sold his entire load of Cleanspark on Friday after market at the spike of 950. Very nice. Hopefully you were in profit. I hope you were able to get that. Okay. And Revenue said, what if Cleanspark opens tomorrow at 11? I doubt that's going to happen, but you never know. Bitcoin starts running up. This things could definitely go up. Yeah, Cleanspark's down 7% right now in the after hours. Yeah. Yeah. Question: Cleanspark being added to S&P Small Cap 600 on March 24th. What could that mean for price? Do you think that could be a catalyst for alleviating short interest? Thanks. It might be a small catalyst there. Right now, with the market being down, Bitcoin being down, everything going down. It's not going to be that good of a catalyst, I think. If things were going in the opposite direction where we're going up on things, the markets in general, Bitcoin and everything else, then yeah, I think that'll be a bit better catalyst there, but still a good thing. John says, Russell 2000 small business caps will go higher as 3 interest rates are coming bullish for BTC. Yeah, so hopefully later on this year, like 6 to 9 months out, or whatever it's going to be, things will look better than where we are right now. Okay. All right, question. What do you think about Cleanspark being added to? I think that's good. I think that's a good thing, right? It gives them more exposure. It lets them, more shares are going to be bought by those that are in the in that side of things. So I think that's good. All right, Chuck Geyer here. Question: what do we have to look forward to moving Bitcoin now? For months there were big events having ETF elections as PR that moved BTC, but I'm not sure what big event is left that will help. Further adoption. That's all we really need. It's just further adoptions. Companies buying it, states buying it, countries buying it, nation states, sovereign funds, whatever it might be, buying it, everybody buying it. That's what we really need. Just adoption. Right? The supply is fixed. It's not going to change. We know that the supply is going to decrease over time. The amount that's being put out in the market. So it's just a simple supply and demand economics on that thing. As more adoption happens, there's going to be more demand for it. The price should go up. But also we have much bigger players in this place right now, right? So they're going to kind of manipulate the stock, or at least manipulate the price a little bit more. Okay, Robin says, I was expecting a short squeeze, but it didn't happen. Over the weekend, I don't like these kind of price swings on the weekends. Because then you get the CME futures like I've talked about in the past as well. And then it gets screwed things up a little bit. Let's see, BTC bounced at 80,000. We will see if this continues. Yep, I'm still expecting it to go down though. Okay, 30% drop from the top. We did about that last time and rallied 70%. Yep. I think it was higher than 70%. I think we were up. Let's take a look at it here really quick. Last time we did a 30% correction, which was in the summer months. Let's go back here to the daily. We had this correction where we corrected from 73,000 all the way down to about 48,000. From there, we bounced roughly there to about here. We went up 121% roughly. So it was a little better than 7%. But still, 70% would have been probably from here, I think, right? If you're looking at it from the top, would that have been 70%? No, it would have been only 50% from there. So still, I mean, if we get a 50% increase from where we are, or at least where we topped out 108, I mean, that puts us at 150,000. So that would be nice. I'll take that every day on it. Okay, let's go back here. Okay, Robin says, I think the 120,000 to 140,000 will be the top of this cycle. I still think we might get a little bit higher than that, but we'll see where Bitcoin goes in the next 6 to 9 months. Nick has a question. Seb, you said before you wanted to get out this year. I was planning on doing the same thing. Have plans changed? I'm thinking 2026 now. That all depends on where Bitcoin goes this year. I still want to get out this year if possible. If it's a similar cycle like we've had in the past, where Bitcoin rallies, towards the end of the year, and then we go into a bear market. But there's also this thought process and context where we have to look into, or consider at least, that we could be in a extended cycle, where we just get these kind of 30% corrections on Bitcoin, but it just continues going, longer north. I don't know. We'll have to think about it. So we'll evaluate things. I mean, right now I'm kind of thinking there's a couple ways I could play this out. Slowly sell out as price of Bitcoin is going up to 150, 180,000, 200,000, whatever it might be. Or I could just sell out my portion that I put into it and see where the rest of it runs, right? So that's more, we'll have to wait and see. There's just a couple ways I could play this out, but that's just kind of what I'm thinking, at least right now. Those are my options as far as what I could do. All right. Do you think Bitcoin and cryptos need to wait for Fed cuts and or start of quantitative easing? I don't think it has to wait for that. That would definitely help, but I don't think it has to wait for that. We just need more adoption happening here. Like I said, states buying it, companies buying it, countries, so forth, so on. Let's see. Yellow has said BTC starts to recover a little every time during your live stream. So can you leave the stream up 24/7? Yeah, and just me not getting any sleep here. That would be something, wouldn't it? But yeah, I don't give myself that credit. It's just Bitcoin sometimes gets beat down, and then it finishes up around 7 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and it goes into the new day. And at that point, typically usually bounces within an hour or two. Okay. All right. Seb, I need this market support group more than you know. Please give us some hopium. Man, I was up over 100,000 now, near my average cost. I'm the same way with you. I was up almost 150,000, 180,000 on these things. I'm up 40,000 right now. All right. So I'm with you there. definitely not a great feeling, but I don't believe the cycle is still over yet. I don't believe Bitcoin's reached its top at 108,000, 109,000, whatever it was, and it's coming back down into a bear market. It would be much faster than we've ever had before. And the way that things are playing out right now, it seems like we're having these kind of long drawn out portions in Bitcoin periods where it just goes sideways and down for a while until it finally goes back up. Saw that last summer. We're seeing it now, it seems like. So that's what's giving me also the thought process that we might be going into an extended cycle. But we'll see. I'm still bullish. I'm still, looking forward to the next 6 to 9 months, and maybe it's going to be even longer than that. Okay. Are you seeing pure play outperform hybrids? That's how it looks. Currently, in the last week or two, I would say yes. It does appear like Mara, Cleanspark. Who else is more of a pure play? Like even IREN, I would say maybe a little bit there. It does appear that way. At least the ones that, it might be also because they have a hodl position. I don't know if it's that, but it does seem like those are doing better here. I think there's some concerns with HPC AI that the demand might not be there. Those guys had run up quite tremendously last year at the second half of the year, so that could be a possibility there. And yeah, I just don't know. Frenchie's guy says I bought more CORZ Scientific last week. What do you think? I think CORZ Scientific is a great company. Right, revenues are going to be a little bit delayed from what they thought. Their sites are not going to be ready as quickly as they thought as well. I didn't think it was going to be doable, but I was giving the benefit of the doubt that they may be because they have the sites already in place. They got a lot of the infrastructure in place as well. They're retrofitting. They could possibly do it in a year, but it looks like it's going to be more like a year and a half from when they started the process. So that's going to be a little bit delayed there, but overall, it's going in the right direction. They're doing all the right things. They're buying up more sites and things like that. I have absolutely no qualms with anybody owning Core right now. Question, why is Sailor not buying any Bitcoin now? He does not have any. I think he still has an ATM. Doesn't he have an ATM right now, I think? So he could pull on the ATM if he's got anything left there, but he doesn't have any convertible notes right now that he could take advantage of. And maybe we'll get something from him. But yeah, now would be the time to be buying instead of buying it at 90-some thousand, 100-some odd thousand. But he just buys, right, regardless where the price is at. I think his average is like 60-some thousand. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's around 60-some. Let's see. Larry has a question here. A reporter asked Trump about a recession we all knew started in 2024. He just answered the question that it started in 2024. Yeah, I don't know. I have not. I saw that on X. Somebody else tweeted that as well. All right, let's see. Trump said on Friday he wants his people to have BTC recommendations by August recess. That sounds like big gains come later, not sooner. Okay, yeah, so they'll kind of play in line with what we've seen in the past with Bitcoin as well. It starts pumping. It's some late summer and then into early fall as well, into winter as well. All right, SK has a question. Is Cypher good buy under 4 and Hive under at 2? Cypher has a lot of potential there. They're going to be having a lot of growth here happening in the second half of the year into 2026. So Cypher's at 389 right now. Yeah. Let's take a look at it here on the chart really quick. It's definitely come way down from where it was. Let's see if there's any kind of support that we can find on it. There was definitely some support here, it looks like around 358. If that doesn't hold, then we may have some more support down here around $3. So I think that's a good place to get in if you can get into it currently. And then they should do much better going forward, as long as Bitcoin corresponds with it as well. So I like Cypher. The only reason I never got into Cypher was, in the beginning it was that Bitfury had a bunch of shares, like 75% of the shares there. Didn't like the fact of that, but they fixed that whole problem. And then for me was the growth. A lot of the growth was not going to be until the second half of 2025 for them. I was looking for more growth happening into the bull run here than what we're going to see here from them. So that's the reasons why I didn't get into them. But they're a great operator as well. Right? They're trying to dilute as little as possible, but also buy up sites and things like that. So they are actually selling a portion of their Bitcoin, sometimes a large portion of the Bitcoin, to fund operations and growth as well. And they do have, I think, is it SoftBank? I think it is SoftBank that invested in them as well. So good things happening here going forward for them in the next, I would say, 9 months or so. Okay, let's go back here, see if there's any other questions we have here. Okay, which one did I miss? Cypher talked about that one, okay. Let's see, and then it says, everyone in this chat has round trip the top. Not everyone. There's definitely been quite a few people that have been trading these guys, and they're doing really good. All right, for you, what is your best miner in the stock market to buy? For me, it's been, this is just for me, right? So not financial advice or anything like that, as always. But for me, it's been Cleanspark as a miner. They've been like the best operator, best for growth, everything else, along with, I would say, IREN. And after that, I would say probably Mara after that. Then you could possibly look at like Bitfarms, Riot after that, and so on and so on. And it says, should have bought Cleanspark March last year, then bought IREN in May. Yeah, well, hindsight is always 20/20, right? You can see definitely what you could have done, what you should have probably done, but what you didn't do. So that's, I don't like to look backwards. It's like, okay, I look backwards to learn from it, but don't second guess yourself too much there. And then, let's see here. Carly says, what's up? Not much. How you doing? And I think that's it for the questions here. I'm not seeing anything else. Yeah, so I think we're going to call it a night here. We'll see. I'm still waiting on 2 miners to report. BitDeer and what's the other one? Hive. Hive have not reported their not financial numbers, but their quarterly results. Not quarterly results. February production updates is what they haven't reported yet. And I'm still waiting on a couple of the miners to report their financial results as well. So once we have that, we'll be able to run some more data on these guys, see how they did for the quarterly and for last month as well. And I got 2 more questions popping up here really quick. Ben asked a question, which miner do you think has the most upside potential? Is Cleanspark still your favorite miner? It is, right? Great balance sheet, great growth ahead here. They're at 40, they're getting to 50. I think they said even 60 exahash by the end of the year potentially. So it's still really good growth here. Yeah, IREN would be my number 2 there as well. Still a lot of growth right there at 31 exahash right now. They're getting to 50 exahash by the end of this first half. So a lot of growth for them happening here. They tweeted something on X today as well, I think it was, that one of their transformers or their I can't remember what it's called right now, not a sub panel, but just a transformer of some sort was getting installed today over the weekend. So they're getting close to getting those things energized, the sites and everything else. So that's looking good there. All right. Question, do you think miners with HPCI component have a better upside from here? If they can get a deal with one of the hyperscalers. If they do, then there might be some upside potential more so on it. But it also depends where Bitcoin goes, right? And then also it depends on when will they actually build that out. I mean, anything that the miners do now, even retrofitting the sites, we're looking at roughly 1.5 to 2 years to retrofit those things for everything that they need there. So it's not like it's going to happen overnight. And then if you're building out a site, I'm guessing you're probably looking at 2 years at best before they can start making any kind of revenue from those sites. So they might get an initial pump, but after that, it'll depend on really how much more they can grow their HPCI business. That's kind of what I think. And let's see here. At what price do you see Mara at if Bitcoin hits 130, 150,000? So on the upper side, 150,000, I would say Mara should be at least a double at that point. It's only roughly from here. Well, it'd be actually close to 150,000 would be close to basically a double from here for Bitcoin. So it'd be 100% increase roughly. So at that point, I would think that Mara would be at least like 2x to like 3x from where it's at right now. Okay. Let's see. Can you put an image about Spark or the code in the stock market? I don't understand the name. Spark? Not sure what you mean there. Let's see. Zeb, do we lose hope? Not yet. Like I said, I think Bitcoin stays above 65,000. We're still in good shape. We're having a correction. We saw that last year. Not a big deal. Right? If we have a correction of 30%, then we go up from the bottom to another 100%. I'll take that 120%, whatever it was last time we went up. So I'm okay with that. It's not, I mean, right now it's painful. I get it. I'm only up on Friday. I was up only on Cleanspark and Marathon. My Bitfarms shares are down. I'm down like 15% on those. IREN was down like 5% on it from where I'm at on it. So things are definitely not great. But I'm still looking out a longer time frame. And that's why I've been buying the week prior. I was buying, and I'm going to be doing my taxes here in a week or two. I'll know how much I got to pay out in taxes coming up here, so I may need to pull some cash back to pay that. But if it's not that bad, I might be able to buy more back into it. So that's kind of where my head is at right now. All right, Chuck here asks a question. Is further dilution inevitable because of the lifespan of the rigs and the miners trying to keep up with the global hash rate? And what do they do with their old rigs? Just buy more wind farms? So like, yeah, for Mara bought a wind farm, which should give them close to, probably not zero, because you do need to have upkeep on the wind farms there. But for the most part, they'll have electricity for free there. And they can run them when it's beneficial for them to run it there, and not, so they can extend the lifespan of those miners longer term. Because the big thing for those is electricity costs. So if they can have it close to zero, you can run them for as long as you want, and as long as they run. Now, the thing that we're seeing here, at least right now, is network hash rate is kind of flat for the most part, at least right now. That could bode well for them. Also, if we go into an extended cycle with Bitcoin, that might result in the hash rate going up slower, while maybe the Bitcoin price goes up a little bit faster, having a higher percentage gain than what the network hash rate would have, leading to the miners doing really, really well for an extended period of time. Historically, the miners have done pretty good for about 9 to maybe 15 months at best, right? Somewhere around there during a bull run. After that, we went into a bear market, and they were barely, making ends meet by the time the bear market got to the bottom, right? So if we continue to go up in price with an extended cycle with Bitcoin, I think that would be better for them. They could at that point possibly dilute less because they're generating so much more revenue. They could possibly use the Bitcoin that they do actually generate, sell it, and then pay operations, pay for growth. And the older rigs, yeah, depending on where the network hash rate grows, will depend on how fast they have to get those things changed out. So that could also, like I said, bode well for that, where they could have those machines for a longer period of time instead of being 2 to 3 years. Maybe they could go to 3 to 5 years on those things. And that would be great. All right. LB says, hi, Sebastian. It's been very painful, but let's all stay positive. Buy the dip if you can. I agree. Absolutely. Frenchie says, Cleanspark. All right. Any news on why Bitfarms was up 10% on Friday? I think it's, the only thing I can think of was maybe we're getting close to them buying out Stronghold. I don't know if there was anything tied to that. I haven't really seen any news updates on that. I know Stronghold voted in favor of it, but that's about it. So we shall see. Okay. All right. Let's see here. What else we have? Saying something. I think we need to be realistic and prevent ourselves from being bag holders. I've been there. It sucks. We are already in a recession and the top is in. Save yourselves here. But great advice, I would say. If you believe that we are going into a recession, or we are in a recession, that this is the top, then yeah, maybe get out. I'm on the contrarian viewpoint here. Maybe I am wrong on this, right? So you also take this into consideration. You guys got to do all the research as well. Where's the market going? What's going on with the economy? Macro, micro, picture of the economy, everything else that goes into it. You guys have to make your own decision as far as, what you want to do. I'm just letting you guys what I'm doing here. Could I be wrong on that? Absolutely. All right. That's it. Let's call it a day here, because we're caught up with all the questions here. We'll see what happens tomorrow. Tomorrow, where Bitcoin goes, miners. We'll see if hopefully we get an update from Hive and BitDeer for the production for February. Then we'll get those guys all done for, and we can do some metrics on which miners were the best in February, and then hopefully we'll get some more updates for the fiscal year end quarterly results for the miners and get those guys also kind of graded a little bit on how they did. All right. So hope you guys have a great week. It's supposed to be a nice and warm week here where I live in Illinois. We're supposed to be up in the 70s by Thursday, I think it is. So it's like, finally getting some nicer weather. Nice to see the sun coming out and things like that. I'm definitely going to be out on those days doing some stuff outside, probably touching some grass. So wish you guys a great week. Thank you so much for coming in as always. Love you all, and I will see you guys tomorrow.